Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm TJ. Welcome to my channel. Let's get started. Okay, so you're probably wondering what you're doing here on a YouTube channel about tea, and what anyone could possibly have to say about tea that's going to take up an entire YouTube channel, or even just a single video. Well, I'm here to tell you that the world of tea is bigger than you possibly think. There are so many different varieties of tea out there: red, green, black, yellow, white, just to name a few, and those are just the broad spectrum ideas of tea. There's also different ways to brew, different styles of tea, different teacups, different teapots, and we're going to be reviewing them all. We're also going to be looking at how to more appropriately brew, some do's and don'ts of tea. I've got a video series on the history of tea, which I think you're actually going to find quite surprising and quite interesting. So let's jump down that rabbit hole with me and start exploring the world of tea. Okay, so let's get started with today's video, which is my top 5 tips to know before even turning on your kettle. Number 1, tea storage. This is important, folks. It applies to both loose leaf tea and tea bags. Now, you want to be storing your tea in a cool, dry place, as most instructions will tell you. But what they won't tell you is that what you store it in is equally important. Plastic bags are no good for tea. They'll quite often end up leaching flavor into your tea leaves, which you don't want, and it's going to be spoiling the flavor of your tea. Storing your tea in tea tins is appropriate, and the way that I do it personally, although glass jars do work if you're storing them in a nice dark cupboard where light's not going to get to them. Stop your teas from getting stale, folks. Put them in a tin or a glass jar and store them in a nice cool dark cupboard. Trust me, you won't regret it. Number 2, more tea, not more time. Now, this one most people seem to get wrong. They seem to think that leaving your tea bag in there for 10 hours is going to make you a stronger cup of tea. Now, while this might be true, it will be stronger, but it's also going to be bitter and disgusting, and probably cold. If you want a stronger cup of tea, add either more tea leaves to your teapot or more tea bags. Don't leave it in there for longer. This just makes the tea bitter and unpleasant. That's right. So remember the simple rule: more tea, not more time. Number 3, know the temperature to brew your tea. Black tea is meant to be standardly brewed at about 100 degrees, although I recommend letting your kettle cool down just a little bit before putting the boiling water in. Now, green tea is where things start to change. Green tea is meant to be brewed at 80 degrees. That's right, so all your friends pouring boiling water on their green tea and telling you that it's disgusting, well, it's their own fault. Brewing your green tea at 80 degrees is going to enable you to have the best experience. Boiling water burns your green tea. Now, if you don't have a tea kettle like I do, what I recommend is filling up your teapot or your teacup with a quarter of cold water before putting in the boiling water. This will bring the temperature to approximately 80 degrees and you won't burn your tea. That way, you'll have a good cuppa and enjoy yourself. Number 4, fresh water for your kettle. Now, reboiling the same water over and over again might be good for the environment, but it's not so good for your tea. Adding fresh new water from out of the tap or even spring water to your kettle is going to give you a much better tea experience. Scientific studies have shown that boiling water over and over again removes the dissolved oxygen that's in the water. Now, that dissolved oxygen is in there helps the tea become more flavoursome. It helps draw the flavour out of the tea. By reboiling the same water over and over again, you're removing that oxygen from out of the water and from out of your tea experience. Your tea needs oxygen too, folks. Tea loves to breathe. Let your tea breathe. Don't reboil your water. Number 5, milk first, no more. Now, a lot of your friends are going to tell you that in high society, you put your milk in your cup first and then you pour in your tea. This is true, but let me tell you, this doesn't apply when you put in your tea bag in your mug and pour in your boiling water in over the top. If you brew your tea with milk in it, you're going to have a bad time. Tea is to be brewed in water only. Then add your milk. Whether you're adding the brewed tea to the milk or the milk to the brewed tea, either way is fine. But brew your tea without your milk in it and you're going to have a much better flavor. So those are my top 5 tips. Now, thanks for listening to this channel. I've got one more 6th tip to throw in there for you before we leave. Experimentation. Throw out the rulebook and try some new teas. Try teas in different ways. Add milk, add sugar, add lemon, add honey. Do it with green teas, with black teas. Maybe even try a red tea. If you don't know what that is, we're going to be talking about it in a later video. So, have fun with your tea, live it, love it, and enjoy it. Now that you know the 5 top tips, go on, put on the kettle, enjoy yourself a cuppa like I am right now. Thanks for listening, folks. I'm TJ. I'll see you next week.